you today. Happy Sunday. I'm usually on Saturday. I'm JudgeDesire for Knowledge. Thank you for joining my channel here on YouTube and on IAAH Radio. Thank you, DJ 5AM, the CEO of IAAH Radio Plus. Go check them out. All the great music and best DJs and music in town. Yesterday, by default, I tried to change my streaming instead of using it with YouTube. I tried another outlet. I won't say what it is, but it didn't go well. I couldn't see my audience. I couldn't get through. So basically, it was a shutdown. I got in on live and broadcasted, but it didn't tape or record. So I wasn't able to upload it. The live did not take after. So I had events to go to. I want to apologize to my subscribers and those that checked me out on last week's the games that people play series 2 to series 1 on dating. I hope you all went and checked that out. And I want to apologize. Thank you for checking me out last week. And those that tried to yesterday, the difficulties with the technical problems did not stop me. I'm here today to give you the message. Anyway, those that saw that and joined me and I couldn't see you, thank you again. I appreciate your time and effort to get this channel to where it needs to go so people can learn and get the knowledge from JudgeDesire Knowledge, me. So please like, subscribe, and share so other people can also enjoy the shows and content I put together with little research. I won't say little. Hand-in-hand research experience, work experience, everything I put it together, collaborate it together as one and bring it into a content. I get my content from things that happen in real life, whether it's personal, friends, family, work experiences, and I put it together so that those that watch this channel of empowerment, of self-love, of endurance period, that you'll also be able to work through your difficulties in life, because no one here is going to say they don't have it, and that I try to help others not go through the processes of the things that other people have gone through, other experiences, my experiences, everyone's experience in life, which is why it's called life, so that we can defeat and beat all the things and stresses that come before us on a daily basis. And with that being said, like I said, can you please like and share and subscribe? I really would appreciate that. It takes a lot of time to get these contents together, and I try to get as much as I can that are encouraging people, as well as people that look at titles and they want that, I believe, excitement as well. So I'm trying to bring more excitement into my titles here and into the content as possible, because I see those are the ones that get the views, and I need people to like, share, and subscribe, but not only get the views, but that they get the message. That's what's important here, the message. So with that being said, this is part 2 series of Know Your Truth, Real Talk, part 2 on games people play. But this week it's on marriages. So if you didn't see last week's, go check that out. I'll link it later to this video. It's on dating. This week it's on marriages, the games people play. All right. And I'm not saying in marriages, I'm just saying on marriages, because that's what it is this week. Next week is series 3, and that topic will be announced when you come check me out. It will also be in addition to games people play. So basically the reason why I bring this up is because a lot of game playing is being done out here from the Himalayas. I finally got that word, players from the Himalayas. And they can be in anything, dating, workplace, schools and families, and marriages, as we're doing here. Mostly relationships, and relationships can be just about anything, friendships too. There's always someone playing games. So I decided to do marriage this week, and the next one is a surprise. So if you like last week's and you like this week's, come check me out next week live. I'm going to try to do live. I don't think I have an event. And check what that's about. For now, we're going to start with the marriage one. You know how some of us we get into marriages with faulty foundations, not knowingly, but it has trickery and deception, some with unconscious behaviors, meaning it's not done purposely, and some it is. Partners can fall into sometimes manipulative and deceptive traps, which is very hard to see because they're so conniving at doing so that you have to really give yourself time to look within yourself and see if they're manipulative. Some of these people marry for deception. They're not there for you. They're there for the time. They're there for the money, and then they're out. So you got to be very careful. These are traps where one will lose trust and intimacy for one another. In other words, these type of marriages, when they're manipulative and deceptive, you can lose intimacy and trust from one another. So I put together some stuff here because these games can either weaken or strengthen a marriage depending on awareness of it and the intent of it. I put together here to outline the truth from the lies on this series of game people play on marriages, okay? And so we're going to start with the emotional game, which a lot of people has been through. The silent treatment, withdrawing communication for control or to punish your partner or spouse, whichever way you want to call it, is a manipulative game as well. So when we talk about deceptives, these are the things you need to see. We started with emotional games. Silent treatment is an emotional game. The next emotional game is scorekeeping. Keeping track of who did what in the relationship, the mistakes, the favors, who did more, who did nothing, who did their chores, who didn't do their chores. That's another wake-up call of deception and manipulation, actually. Not deception. It's more of manipulating, but it's all an emotional game as well. Then you got the mind reading, expecting a spouse to know how you feel without saying it. How do someone's supposed to know what you're thinking if there's no communication? Communication is very important in a marriage, and if you're not having that, I don't see how it can go any further. I mean, we don't have to. Who doesn't communicate? Partners that love each other are a team, so communication is really important, whether it's communicating because of a positive, good things or bad things that's going on in your relationship. It can't always be positive stuff that you communicate. You communicate the bad, communicate what you don't like, communicate what you want of a change of. Everything is communication in a marriage, period. So if you're not playing mind games, then there's no reason for you not to communicate. You should be communicating, period. That's a part of like I said, emotional games as well. And that mind reading is expecting a spouse to just know how you feel without saying it, which is, if we were mind readers, all of us would win the lottery or know what everyone's saying and thinking at all times. So we wouldn't need to talk, but that's not the truth. So we do need to have more communication in our daily lives, in our relationships, and definitely in our marriage. Another part of this outline that I've created is outside of emotional games comes power and control games, because this is all about games people play, right? So power and control games is one, financial control. One spouse, withholds money or makes financial decisions without consulting the other. Wow. In other words, if it's your money, it's your money. If you came in with money and they didn't, whichever, vice versa, you came in with a house, they didn't come in with a house. If you married that person, then it should be bilateral, that you both own it together, unless you should never have married someone that you can't trust. And sometimes we do, and we don't know that. So yeah, you can keep your assets separate. That's not saying that you can't. Separate accounts is great. When you're married and together is also nice too, or you can have both. But the point of not of withholding money from each other and making financial decisions without the other half, that sounds kind of conniving and power and control game to me. Without consulting each other, that's not coming out as a good marriage with each other. Like I said, if you want to separately either have your own account or have one joint and one separate. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. I can understand people that don't trust, but then why did you marry that person unless you found out a little bit too late? Then understandable. But other than that, then there seems to not be going anywhere, and that game is that the money is what they're in it for. So be careful of someone or a spouse that cannot explain to you any finances, whether they're using your money, taking your money, or having money and not explaining it together as a team. It's important that you both discuss the financial matters because this is what normally damages marriages. So be careful with the game, those that play with power and control games. That's how they control it. Financial is one of the biggest ones in marriages. And then you have after the financial control, you have the power trip. I do everything in this marriage. That's the card they play, used to gain guilt, leverage over the other spouse. So this again is another part of power and control. So if someone's doing the power trip, I do everything in this marriage. Everything is because of me. I made you because of me. You're where you are because of me. It doesn't have to just be financial. It could be wording verbally. And these are called power trips. And that's a part of power and control games. So if you're not married or you are in a marriage or thinking of getting married, think of these things before you do marry. And if you are married, think of them now. And if there's a possibility that you may be manipulated or being played on, then you have the opportunity to think it out first. See if it's true before you step out and end a marriage, because it shouldn't be something that someone want to do right away just because, unless that's what you intended in the first place. The power trip is very, very known out there. I've had my ex-husband play the power trip. I've seen it played in other places, and yeah, that's why a lot of people aren't married today. Unfortunately, they use that and it's over for them. But there's more to life than just staying stuck on the past. If there was a past marriage or a past anything, even a relationship, leave it in the past. It doesn't mean your future is going to hold the same type of people. So now you don't date anybody or you don't live your life, because remember, that person's going to live theirs. If you choose to stay by yourself and single, that's beautiful too. I've done it. It helps you grow, maturity, it helps heal yourself. You can heal yourself to grow into the person you need to be. It also helps you become stronger for the next relationship. That the right person, you'll know, you'll be able to tell, because you work so hard on yourself, healing from the breaks, heartbreaks, or whatever it is that happened. And with that, it's always a time when you need that space to heal. So if you don't give yourself some time and you just jump and jump and jump, you're going to jump right into the same situation over and over again and end up marrying it. So if you've been married before, let your first marriage teach you the lesson. If you were divorced from that, that should be the lesson. So if you marry again, that you now don't make that mistake again. But if you do and you want to continue to marry again, there's been people out here that's been married multiple times. Look at Elizabeth Taylor. Some of them fail at it because they rush into judgment. They got money, they got this. They don't know who loves them, who don't love them, because they don't love themselves. So when you don't love yourself, how can you love other people and know if they love you back? It makes no sense. So therefore, there's no rush to marriage. You want to get the right person, and God has them out there for you. You just can't be jumping, looking for them. They'll find you, and you'll find them. And that's the way it's supposed to be. But going back on the power trip, when you get a spouses like this, that's like a red flag for me, because I had seen it happen, and I've had it happen in my own, where people they want to take all the credit of what you've done in your life as their own. And even though you're supposed to share in a marriage, if that person haven't given you any inspiration or any sense of help to give for you to attain that leverage, how dare they say it's because of them? That's the power trip. It's not because of them, it's because of yourself. You did it for you. If you have a beautiful partner that actually helped and assist you, then yes, they can take the credit along with you. But just solely taking the credit is not only self-centered, it's selfish. So that type of person has to be looked at like, what? Oh, okay. Yeah. Let's review this again. Because sometimes if you don't check it out and you just let it fly over your head, then you end up in situations as why you're getting remarried and remarried and remarried instead of having a solid marriage. The next one is one-upmanship. This is a part, as we were stating, power and control. The one-upmanship, constantly trying to outdo the other partner by experiences, knowledge, achievement, always throwing it in your face. If someone's always throwing, well, I did better than you here, I make more money than you, I'm better than you, I have more experience than you, I have more knowledge than you do all the time, no one's going to have more knowledge than the other person unless it's in a particular area or a particular field. Then I can agree with that. But if the person is talking like they're the only ones with the experience, now this is false. Any partner or spouse that does that has to be checked out. I would definitely check them out because I would say, wait a minute, I have my own knowledge and experience in other things. We don't have to have it in the same, but I bring to the table my half and you bring your half, and that's what makes us a team. So if there's an issue on a one-upmanship, there should be no competition with a husband and wife or spouses, whichever way you want to put it. In a marriage, I should say, because the competition is those competing against your marriage, not you both competing against each other. Why get married? I don't understand. Some people, I wonder why they get married. Is it because you don't have anything for yourself? You want to build off of someone else? Or is it for love? Because that's what I'm hoping, you know? Either way, we're going on to the other segment of communication games. We did, let's see, I'll go back here. We did emotional games. We did power and control games. And now we're going on to communication games because that's another part of the manipulation and deception part in marriages. Again, thank you, like and subscribe, and share to my channel, please, so that I can get other people that are in need of hearing this, because there's a lot of people, they don't really address situations really well. And they may get something out of this little content here that I created. Like I did, I had to learn, and I'm giving my experience. Other people, I learned from others. I learned from experience, from my work experience, where every thing I've done in my work experience in the courthouse has been based on people's personal experience, family experience, and it's no joke. So your whole life is out there in the courtroom when you come in. Everything you've done practically is investigated. So I use some of the, and honestly, I won't say who by name and stuff, but their experiences, my experiences, personal experience from others, friends, family, and I put content together. So I would like for other people to hear. If it really aligns with them, then they'll get to realize, let me be like this right now. Let me do not what I said, but what I think is right before I take these steps. That would be something you want to do, but that's up to you. You have to have discernment for your own life. But I'm going to sit here and say I don't have a problem helping, even on the legal matters part, which will be coming, I believe, not this week, next week, the ending of this month, every Saturday, last end of the month. I do legal matters. I don't know what topic it's going to be next week, but it will be interesting. So come check that out. All right, so we're going on communication games. All right. You know the communication games when you're communicating with your spouse and stuff. Not everyone goes through this, but they do the yes, but. Appearing to agree to, then undermine the decision and solutions with excuses. So, in other words, they agree to not to agree. These are communication games. Like, they'll say, yeah, but, everybody has their opinion, but it's always something to deter you or undermined you type of thing. And when you see that in a marriage or even a relationship and dating, go check that tape out, video out. These things are really something to look at. It's like the basic before you realize, okay, these are too many red flags, all right? Then there's the blame shifting, redirecting responsibility for problems back onto the other spouse. That's horrible. When you say, oh, it's because of you I went out there to sleep around. Oh, it's because of you that I'm sad and depressed. Oh, woe is me. That's a sickness, I think. I was watching novelas in Spanish, of course, novelas, because they're very great in Spanish. I'm sorry, they're exciting. They have subtitles if, in case you don't know Spanish. And I've seen a show where the guy shifted his sleeping around with prostitutes in his marriage as it's not a bad thing that she wasn't there. She's working, for God's sake. She's a captain in the police department. So long story short, he used that leverage. I mean, these are sick people. The blame game, yes, they're both to blame, obviously, but you can't put the blame on one person. There's a reason why someone goes out and does something. So both of you to blame. You're both together, no communication, that can happen. And if you're not, lifting each other up, giving a little bit of love here and there, someone may take that. I don't know why, but that's an excuse for some people. But in reality, if you were to communicate it out, then you don't need to point a finger at one person. Yes, it's two people that makes the issue. Someone did something and someone did something else. It's never that one person. It's two in a marriage. It's never unilateral, it's bilateral. So when you're blame shifting, look at yourself in the mirror and say, what part did I take in that? How did that I allow that to affect me because of what that person did? And if you can resolve it, you resolve it. If you can't resolve it and it's unresolvable, then it's unresolvable. But blame shifting is another kind of communication game that people play. Pointing fingers is another one that I just did. Bringing up every past problem during one argument instead of focusing on the current issue. That is a big game played in communication. Everything is you, so that you can not focus on what the actual problem is. You go back to your past situations that happened between you both, and then you keep it there. But this is a new problem, and you're not focusing on that situation. So therefore, you're going back and forth and bringing the past back into not the future, but bringing it back into your situation. And then you're dealing with that and what your current issue is. So instead of doing that, focus on the current issue. Anyone pointing fingers and bringing up every past problem that you all had, then you have not done your communication as a couple at all, because that should have been resolved already. Another one segment is intimacy and affection games. So we went through all of the other games that we just stated here. A, emotional games. B, power and control games. C, communication games. And D, intimacy and affection games. And intimacy and affection games are conditional kind of love, not unconditional, conditional, which means that whatever someone says is what they want out of it, not unconditional, okay? Withdrawing affection, sex, or attention until demands are met. Who are you to make demands? Who are you to hold back from your wife or husband or spouse? This is not good. This is how people tend to leave and get depressed and move on to other areas of people that would love for you to move onto them, because they have nothing going on. So basically, this is how this withholding affection, sex, or attention until demands are met is a bit of control of the intimacy and affection in your marriage. You cannot do that and not expect someone to think, okay, well, this person's sleeping around, or they're not with me, or this and that. Everyone's going to think like that. Well, not everyone, but if you're not communicating, of course you think that, right? I wish I was live today so I could hear you all. But please feel free to leave the your comments in the description, not the description, the comment box, please. I would greatly appreciate it. But on how you think about that. But like we were saying, intimacy and affections, when you're holding back and to your demands are met, like I am not going to sleep with you until you buy me a car, that's weighted. That's out of the area. But something simple like, oh well, you know, you didn't buy me dinner last night, so I'm not giving you anything. Those little things, those are really ridiculous games. Like I said in my last video, um, games people play on dating. Let's grow up. We're not girls and boys. We're women. We're men and women. Okay? Those games are played by kids, children, boys and girls. Grow up. There's going to be a time when your maturity, you need to grow. This is what I was saying about honesty and trust. It's really important, but I'll get to that later. Because when you're a little boy and a little girl, you're not going to be mature enough to handle relationships, because these are the games that people play that are little boys and little girls. I just have to say it. You know, it's obvious. Obvious. You know, you're not an adult. You're acting and playing kid games. I mean, kid tricks are for kids, right? Is that it? All right, not for adults. Okay, so it's time. Like, life is too short to be playing games all the time. I mean, how old do you think you're gonna be playing these games? You're not getting any younger. You will reach senior citizenship, God willing, because some people don't make it. So why live your life wondering? You know, when you can just live it right and stop playing games with people and yourselves. You know. Anyway, so the next one is jealousy triggers. Yeah, this one is real. Causing insecurity by testing loyalty to seek validation. A lot of people do that. Oh, well, I'm wondering if you was looking at that person and if you think they were cuter than me. I mean, who cares about that? Why do you worry about if someone's cuter than you? There's no competition more than you. What I always say to myself, there's no competition. I don't have to worry about anything or anyone. I know who I am. And if you know who you are, you don't have to worry about insecurity or jealousy. And you don't have to trigger other people into your jealousy. Triggers, you know, how you feel about yourself will tell a lot about who you are. So if you have insecurity and this is how you bring it out, there's the only kind of communication you could do, then there's an issue there. Because you're seeking validation so that you can prove to yourself that you're wanted, you're loved. For instance, oh, what do you think of me all day long? If someone's not telling you what they think of you, then more communication is needed. You shouldn't have to always seek and find validation for anything in a marriage or in dating as well, but we're talking about marriage now. Now, the next and last one for these games are over politeness. Avoiding honest communication is over politeness, okay? By being superficially nice and leaving issues unresolved. Yeah, that is another one, over politeness. Someone being so good, oh yes, thank you, this and that, but being superficially nice because you're leaving the issues unresolved is not a good thing. You need to resolve the issues in your marriages and not make it look like it didn't happen, like it's easy and it's over with and leave it, move on. Yes, you can move on, but with solid communication, a solid trust and respect for one another. Because basically, toxic games manipulate or control, and healthy games they bond and bring joy. And I don't want to say healthy games, more of like healthy instructions, things that you do that are healthy in your marriage brings bond and brings joy, while toxic games manipulates or control. So we're very careful with that. I'm gonna move on now, and please like, share, and subscribe again. I ask you to do so that other people can actually get this video and be able to either see if they want to see the other one, games people play, one on dating, which is also pretty cool. But I'm going to move on to playing games versus being real in a marriage. So I'm going to bring some scenarios and show you so that if you're in a marriage or you're going to marry someone, that you'll see if this or if they're playing games or if they're being real. This is where I decipher the lies from the truth, okay? So we're going to start with the playing games, and after that I explain the playing games, in that situation scenario, I'll be telling you about being real in the marriage, when you're being real. So I'll start with communication. Okay, when playing games and communication is when you drop hints, avoid direct talk, and expects partner to know. We already said that. But when you're in it for real, you speak openly, you express your needs, and listens actively. That is good communication. We were just talking about communication games, but good communication is when you're in it for real, you're going to speak openly, express needs, and listen actively. When you're not, that's when you avoid direct talk and expects partner to know how you feel automatically. That's a game right there. The next one is conflict. Playing games while you're in conflict, right? In conflict is the second one. So playing games in conflict is when you use silent treatment, blame shifting, or emotional manipulation. That's when you know that's not real. When someone manipulates the process and blame shifting when in conflict. But if you're in it for real in the marriage in conflict, you face problems head on, seek solutions, and you listen. So that's when you're in it for real. When you're in a marriage for real, you face the problems head on and seek solutions and listen. Now, when in commitments and playing games, you're hot and cold and keep one foot out the door and threaten to leave. We got a lot of people like that. Eventually, they wanted to leave in the first place, but they just didn't know how to do it without their embarrassment of themselves. That's what I say. But when you're in it for real in a commitment, you're consistent, dependable, and you invest in long-term growth of your marriage. It's as simple as that. And then we're coming to affection and love. So when playing games in affection and love feels conditional, not unconditional, conditional, and withholds feelings, affections, and sex as a leverage. That sounds like something we heard earlier, right? Yeah. When you're in affection and love, when you're in it for real, you offer affection freely, even during disagreements, and love feels secure. When love feels secure, you know you're in it. Definitely in it. We're going to move on to trust now. When playing games in trust, tests loyalty, plays jealous games, or even hides things from the other spouse. I've seen that happen before in other people's relationships. That's playing games. When you're in it for real, in marriage for real, it builds trust. You build your trust through honesty and reassurance. Let me explain. When you're in it for real, okay? Even in dating, I said this. Be honest and trustworthy because it's worth it. We're not little boys and little girls anymore. And if you are, then you're in the game. You're one of the reasons why people play games, okay? And so if you're honest, let's say this happens, what we just see the jealous games and stuff like that, where you hide stuff from your spouse and you're sleeping around somewhere else. When you get into a relationship, even before a marriage, you should come to an understanding that you're not, especially when you're in a marriage, you're not going outside of this household to have sex with other people, period. And if that's what you choose, you should be speaking that out before your marriage. That should be one boundary that is the biggest boundary of all. There is no infidelity here. And that's that, or no marriage. You don't get married, right? Because if you both can talk, and now a lot of people lie. Those are little girls, those are little boys and little girls. They're going to lie. They're going to tell you what you want to hear. Unfortunately, some people still marry them because liars are liars and you can't decipher it until it's too late. It's the lie. You can't. So basically, we marry them. But if we were to be honest adults, women, men and women, adults, then we have the choice to make. Like I said in dating, the last video, games people play, we become adults when we can stand up and say, that's not what I want, so this isn't going to work. I'd rather not date you. Isn't that better? Someone just to leave, and there's no conflict, there's no issues. We're just finished, and we don't have to go on and hurt each other for the rest of our lives or even in the dating scene. we've seen too many victims out here. Just recently, the Bronx. Um, just came out yesterday that the husband slash boyfriend, I don't know which one, it's coming out different ways, had his wife killed. I mean, this is conflict. She was going to leave the situation. See, you find out these people a little bit too late. They're liars. Probably, we don't know exactly what happened in the background there. It'll probably come out later, but it was in the Bronx, and he pulled over. He went to release himself, and a few minutes, seconds later, a moped. It sounded really shaky, so they just arrested him. A few people on a moped, two people on a moped came and played like they were robbing her and stabbed her to death. So, I mean, these are the things we can avoid if we were honest and stop playing little girls and little boy games and grow the freak up, because it gets me very upset when I see that people can't do that. I've done this as a teenager. I'm honest. If I don't want to be with you, I'm not going to be with you. I'll let you know. Get out of the relationship now. You live your life. I live mine. You'll never see me again. I probably won't even remember you. I've done that before. I didn't remember the person because I'm done. I'm finished. I don't have to hang on. Their coattails, have a child with them, and don't let go, or have the. I don't do these games. This games is for kids, little girls, little boys. I don't have time for people like that. I'm a mature woman. There's no competition for me, and there shouldn't be for anyone else in the world. For you against anyone, you love yourself enough. There's no competition. Why do you make a competition? This is what leads to conflict and killings. And so, basically, these type of shows need to come out more on how to address situations on YouTube and on radio as well, on IAAH radio. But other than that, so that people can address these issues instead of looking at ridiculous stuff on YouTube channels that not going to mean anything later on. But these things are real right here. These type of shows that are going to help others address situations that they have probably addressed or are going to address ahead of time. But anyway, trust is really important, and I think that the best way to trust someone um, is by speaking, communication. So as we say, when it comes to trust in playing game, when you're playing games, you test loyalty, you play serious mind games, jealous games, or hide things from each other. Those are games. When in it for real and trust for real in a marriage, it builds trust through honesty and reassurance. That's what you do. You build your trust through honesty, like I just said, and reassurance. All right, by communicating. That's the only way. If you can't communicate together, I don't know why you're together. The next one is support. When playing games is support, all right, only supports when convenient. The other partner only supports when convenient or in need of recognition. That's the only time you see that support from someone who's playing games. When you're in a marriage for real, willingly gives support to one another, celebrates each other on the wins together or on your spouse's wins separately. But you can do that. If you can do that, then you're in it. Because some people can't do that. They want to celebrate themselves. That's self-centeredness. But either way, that's important that you can share with your spouse your wins together and separately. It makes you grow. It gives you a great foundation as a partner, in a partnership of marriage and love. All right, when in motives, playing games. When in motives takes advantage, the other person takes advantage, seeks control and validation. It seems that they always want validation when playing games. And when you're in it for real in motives, you seek connection together, partnership, and mutual well-being for each other. That means that you want and really care what happens to the other person and what we can do to make sure that we take care of this marriage and it's everything to you. When you're playing games, it's gonna be the total opposite. And another important part is consistency. This one is next, consistency. When playing games, words and actions don't align, that means they're not being consistent. Says one thing and does another. That's not being consistent. Those are how you're gonna know if someone. That's how you're gonna know if someone is playing games or they're in it for real. Then their action backs up their words and promises and follows through. Basically, They're following through. That's when they're in it for real. When you're in it for real, action backs up their words, promises, and are followed through. That's when you know it's for real. When it's not for real, it's the total opposite. Actions don't align. Don't forget that. And my last one for now is focus. When you focus is a part of a big part of this show, because if you're not focusing on what is needed to focus on, then you're gonna lose it all. Like if you're not focusing on what I just said, I know it was a lot, but it's good and important that you do, because when people are playing games on focusing in a marriage, here's how you know who's playing a game. When you are playing games on focus, right? That's the theme. It's a me versus you mindset. Always in competition with each other. We were just talking about that. We are a team. Why are we competing? There's no such thing in a marriage as competing against each other. The competitors, the people you're competing with, is outside of your marriage, not inside the marriage. No one should be competing with their team player, teammate. I don't get that. But that's how you know they're there for game playing. That's games being played. When you're in it for real, it's not a me versus you. It's a us versus the problem mindset instead. Always looking to resolve the issues. That's partnership. That's marriage. That's everything right there. So if you overlook this checklist or outlines that I've put together, you'll realize that what is for you and what is playing against you. Make sure that you do communicate with each other. Um, if by chance you see this in your marriage, the first thing to know is to figure it out if it's done unintentionally or intentionally, because not everyone needs to do this. Sometimes they don't. Don't make assumptions right away. Communicate with your spouse and see if he or she recognizes their actions first, okay? Because you'll know if it continues to happen, then it's intentional. It's real easy. It's intentional because you have already discussed the situation. This is why communication is very important, as I stated, in a marriage or in marriages, definitely. So you know exactly what steps to take instead of rushing to judgment, because some people rush to judgments because they're bored or tired of the situation. And if you want to leave for other reasons, then just go. Don't sit there and make the other partner, suffer because you're making excuses, because you want to play the field, and you've realized that marriage isn't for you. A lot of people do that. But just be honest. If you want a better outcome of dissolving the marriage, amicably, then it's always the best thing and mature thing to do is to communicate, and not because someone else is actually encouraging behind the scenes, because we have all of those people that encourage you with false hope when you're married and you talk outside and tell other people, even family does it. They give you false hope, either false hope to be with them or false hope in your own marriage. So sometimes it's better instead of going out there and communicating with the people that can't get their life together and probably not married for a reason, male and female, but looking to ruin yours because they're never going to have anything, right? Be careful of those. They'll give you the false hope to end what may be a great partnership. So never go to the outside to have people tell you what to do on the inside. Go to each other. It's very important, because this is where the Jezebels, male and females, come in. That's why they're single and they're out there strutting and trotting. They'll dirt. Leave the garbage in the trash. That's where they belong. But and keep it within yourselves and talk it out. And if you can't do that, then it's not worth it. I assume. I don't think so, because letting it be told outside of your marriage is when you get these people that give you false hope that they're going to give you what you're looking for, and that usually is not it. But anyway, there are a lot of game players out here. So unless you yourself are playing a game in your marriage, then there's a chance to save your marriage. Those who abruptly leave usually without a good reason. They play games. They play games. They were in it for something. They're going to get something out of it later. Do a prenup, actually, if you really know you can't trust or you're unsure. I don't like to say that. It's sad, but today's era, yeah. There's a lot of people that don't want to work for what they have, but present it as if they did after they've taken several people, husbands or wives, money already, and then they come out producing like they did something. That's what I'm talking about, those type of people. So those are the type of people you're going to want to prenup, but without a good reason. These people play games. If they abruptly leave marriage, let's say within a year, less than a year, you know that's a game, right? They didn't even get through a year, okay? 2 years, 3 years. After 5 years, you might have a chance if they're not playing games, if they're not playing the game. But if they are, it's usually within less than a year, 2 a year. I say 3 max. And if it's over, you know what they were there for. Um, those people aren't willing to fight. You want the type that are willing to fight for their marriage. Know the difference and let them go if they want to go. Do never hold on. There's someone out there that's actually for you, and they're probably not it. If they think the grass is greener on the other side, then let them think that. Let them go. You have better. You're going to be better. And you probably did the best thing ever if you did. And you know that this is what happens to you within a year or more, then let them go see what's. It probably was in their mind in the first place. There was nothing there on the green side it was coming to take. So you got to be real careful with people like that. And know the bottom line here is game players thrive on power, ego, and control, while real marriage partners thrive on trust, growth, and teamwork together. So don't forget that. Game players, they thrive on ego and control. When you see someone like that, you know that they are actually in it to play games. Games people play, as stated. So I hope you like this segment. I have a very interesting one coming next week. Ooh, I don't want to say it. It's going to be off the hook. I'm going to do it live so that I can get your opinion. Please like, share, and subscribe. I'm out and about. I'm out. I hope you like it. Thank you, IAAH Radio Plus. Go check them out. And thank you, all my subscribers, followers, and those that like my channel. Thank you so much. The content means a lot to me, and I hope it does help you in the long run. And with that being said, thank you for coming here and here on Know Your Truth Real Talk with me, Judge Desire for Knowledge, bringing you the truth and nothing but the truth. Is now adjourned. Thank you all. I see you next week. Ciao.